That's right. A change is coming. Again, welcome to Dr. Clark's Report. I'm your host, Dr. Gary Clark, and my guest is my friend, Mr. Isaiah Stewart, who is the founder of Angel Arms, and he is with Angel NOLA. Yes, greetings and welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, indeed. And you know, we've been talking for quite a while about you coming on the program, and I'm glad that you're available. You're able to put some time aside for us.
Thank you for having me. Be available whenever you need, man. You're great.
Well, do this for me.
Yes,
tell us about the nature of Angel Arms and what is it that you do specifically and why that is so important to all of us in our community.
All right, well, Angel NOLA is a firearms training and instruction company I founded. I am an instructor. I'm NRA certified in Louisiana, concealed handgun permit certified. And what we do is we help assist people with obtaining their concealed carry permits. Aside from that, we also do home defense, person defense, and moving into church defense because that is an area that needs to be explored. There were several robberies of churches in our areas. You just want to make sure you protect your people.
But evidently, weaponry is necessary in our community.
Unfortunately, it is.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it is. With the heightened crime rates in different areas. Thankfully, we don't have the school shootings here, but they do happen across the nation. It's very vital that we do this. And so my goal with the company is to educate and then also arm every citizen in the community.
Well, actually, I understand, too, that you are indeed certified with the National Rifle Association.
Yes, sir.
And you're also certified with, here in Louisiana, you're Louisiana certified as an instructor, yes?
Yes, sir.
And how does that certification operate? What is involved in the process of certification?
Well, the NRA, you have to go through several hours of training, very costly. And the last one was like 2 days just to get certified. But it makes sure that you're able to have all the basic pistol and fundamentals. They have several different certifications, but the basic one is for pistol, just to be able to teach people how to function and operate. Then after you do that, you do your stuff for Louisiana. You pass that, you pass the test, you send off your paperwork, and they certify you. And so it's a lengthy process.
How many hours does it basically involve, or days, or how is it calculated?
I mean,
yes.
Well over 30 to 40 hours, well over a work week.
Okay.
To get everything completed. So.
Well, you actually get involved in that then. And so once you get the
yes.
certification, then you're prepared you're able to go and teach. And
you're able to go and teach. I still recommend, people who want to be instructors to still go get more instruction. There are things that are always changing. It's an ever-evolving process. And so to make sure that you're ahead of the curve, you want to keep getting continue training.
Well, you know what I find important, Isaiah, is that when you look at what you do, and I think what you do is very needed in our community. And it's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on, because it's needed and highly important.
Yes, sir.
And when you look at the Second Amendment and, the right to bear arms and all of that, that's important.
Yes, sir.
And that importance, because there are a lot of folks that there are many individuals that kind of shy away from it. But why should we gravitate toward understanding the value of this?
Well,
yes.
There's a stigma in our community, African-American community, about guns. Many of us own them but don't know how to use them. And so honestly, a majority of what my company has been doing now is consulting, going in the house. They have a husband who has a gun. His wife is at home. Something happened. I had a client on the lakefront. She didn't know what to do, so she called the police, and the husband was afraid because I have a firearm in my house. My wife doesn't know how to use it. So I go in and help people and teach them, this is what you do, this is how you function with it. And to break down that fear. We have a healthy fear, but I say why? A gun within itself cannot harm you. I can yell at a gun, I can curse a gun out, can't do anything. But improperly trained people and ignorance and neglect cause firearm accidents. And so once I am able to get people past that stigma, to be able to hold it, to touch it, to see it, that it will not harm you, we're able to explore different options. Okay, now how do I safely use this? How do I keep my family safe? Because the Second Amendment right is a right afforded to everybody, but some people don't take advantage of it. We have free speech. We speak up and say what we want to, but defending ourselves, how do we properly defend ourselves?
And that's what happens, I think, to a large extent in the African-American community
Yes,
and minority community, because many of us can relate to grandfathers having weapons, grandparents having weapons.
Hunting as a kid.
Weapons, and about four, they were right there. You didn't bother it,
Right.
it didn't bother you. And then you learn also, but when you get into urban communities, there is a retreat to some extent. And
Right.
I know that young people, and I say young, I mean there's been a proliferation of crime as a result of guns, but many of these weapons they're not registered. And I want you to talk about the importance of the registration of your weapons.
Well, once you purchase a firearm, it's legally yours. There's a ID number with it that's associated with you, and it's yours. And going back to what you said, yeah, the media, the nightly news, they push this. I don't want to say necessarily agenda, but this image of African Americans, armed teenagers, armed young adults, and gun violence and crime. And so you stray away from, like, it's a hot topic, I don't want to touch it. But we don't have a registry per se in Louisiana. Every firearm I own, my wife can use. Everyone she owns, I can use. But it's good to have legal ownership. It protects you. And then also, when people lose their firearms, report it. The biggest thing is people don't report their firearms; they get used in it, and then somehow it gets traced back with you, and then you have to come up and say, "Well, hey, I lost it in 2012," but nobody knew that. So you get charged with this stuff.
Yes.
So, it's about safety and education. You have to educate them people. It's get insurance. All my firearms are insured. I put that on people. Insure yourself. Take care of yourself. Just like you insure a car and you don't ever plan on being in an accident, insure your weapons.
But look at this. I would imagine then that the number one question that one would ask is, what sort of weapon should I have for protection? And what do you recommend?
For personal protection or home?
For personal protection. And then we go to home, yes.
I said a basic 9mm.
Okay.
Everybody likes to do this big guns and they look at Hollywood. You don't have that. For our house, we have a shotgun and we have two pistols. And if somebody can get past a shotgun and two pistols, then we didn't do our job.
Yeah.
And protect ourselves. But a basic home pistol, one that the family, my son's 6 years old. He handles all the firearms. He knows the lockbox by the bed he is not allowed to touch. He knows all the other guns he cannot touch. But if push comes to shove and I tell him go get Bobby, he knows what that means.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Now you say a pistol at home, but you like the semi-automatic. You do, and why so?
Well, I mean, pretty much every gun is a semi-automatic, other than a revolver.
Yeah.
Now,
like, I'm old school. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm old school. I go back to the 38, snub nose 38 special.
But that's actually
yes.
actually a great gun. That's my backup. And it's a science to that. If I'm in an encounter and somebody's up against me and I have a semi-auto and that slide goes back, he can't shoot. But that 38 snub nose special is gonna fire until I stop, and it's gonna go. So. It all depends. Where will you be at? What's the likelihood of where you're going to get robbed at? Statistics show that it'll be me robbing you and not somebody else. So where will I be at?
Yeah. And so you understand that. And so when your clients come to you and their criteria, what is the prototype of the client that you serve?
A novice.
Okay.
A person who says, hey, I look at what's going on and I don't want to be behind the curve. I want to protect myself, but I also have no idea about what I'm doing or what I'm getting into.
Okay.
So we're introducing them. A lot of time I come to the house, I bring an array of firearms that's great for home protection, and just let the person touch it, see it, feel it, understand what's going on. And usually the people that, I've never shot a gun, I'm gonna kill somebody. The moment I get them on the range and they shoot a target and understand, if that had been a life, would you be willing to take it? Their whole mindset changes. Yes. And now I respect the gun. I respect this craft. I respect all that, and they become better shooters.
What do you recommend individuals keep the gun in their home?
Safely locked away. Now, there are lock boxes. I definitely recommend lock boxes. They have different devices. In an emergency, if someone breaks in your house, you want to have the quickest access to your firearm. So having a lock in it, that's not going to work. You think about it. You're in the dark. How are you going to find it? Heightened sense of fear is going on. My box on the side of my bed, I turn that thing, it opens up, we're at it. So, but definitely keep it stored somewhere safe, but then also educate your kids. Like I said, my son's 6. He understands you cannot touch daddy's gun. He has his own, and he understands he cannot touch it unless we're going to the range, his daddy's there.
Now, you know what? I have some friends and I went to high school with, and many of these guys, they, for lack of a better term, they're all gun enthusiasts.
Right.
And these fellas, I mean, they're so much so they call me up weekly and semi-weekly, and they'll tell me, Gary, listen to this, was at the range, and this has been literally for years, 20, 30 years, but they make their own ammunition
Yeah.
because they say that
They
they talk
reload.
about the price of
It's
the
cheaper.
price of ammunition.
So you go per box,
Yes.
it's about 33 cents per round. When you start reloading yourself, you knock that down in half. But the reloading machines themselves are about $1,600 to $2,000, easy for a good one. But you think about the longevity overall, you save over a lifetime thousands of dollars on rounds. But they're also probably in rural areas where it's like, you know.
Well, these folks are in Dallas, Texas. There were 3 of them in Dallas. One is in Houston. I mean, but they're Texas people. You know,
they good old Texas boys. Yeah.
Yes, it's amazing. I went to a boarding school, but they're Texas people now.
I'm actually working on getting a reloading machine. I'm trying to start a black shootings club. We don't have one here in New Orleans. And one of the things some of the members and I we want to do is put our money together and start reloading and making our own ammo.
And I think that would be absolutely great because, I believe in black carry. I think that's important.
Yes, sir.
And from a philosophical standpoint, I think it's important because you've got to understand that we're minorities in the majority culture. You've got to understand the nature of the beast out there. And I want you to talk to some extent about when you get your client and you train them, what is their response after the training is ended?
So when I get a client, we come in and we talk about what's going on. A lot of times, first-time shooters, so they're nervous, they never handled a gun. I do a simulation in my class to make sure and ensure that every student, when we get to the range, will be able to actually fire. They get in the class, they're excited, they're able to hit the target. All of a sudden, they get to the range, and the fundamentals that you learn in class translates on the range, and it's, oh my gosh, I can really do this. And that's their immediate response, like, okay, I want to get in this community. But also I want to go back to what you were saying about black carry.
Yes.
And the Florida incident and why I'm an advocate for it. The fight is no longer brute force hand to hand. When you look at the state of Texas, as we go back, over 1 million concealed handgun carry permits. 225,000 are women. And so to think that if I ever get into a physical altercation, not saying that you ever want to, but if you do, you come in with brute force, you're not coming to the fight. You're not coming to a fair fight. In America anymore. Concealed gun handgun permit, the group of people is ever growing, it's spreading, it's broadening. And I don't want us as a people to be on the back end because, well, they said guns are bad. Well, no.
And then with the stand your ground laws, I mean,
now we have a stand your ground law in Louisiana.
Yes, we certainly do.
But ours is different. See, we have to teach my students about that, the presumption of innocence. There are factors that play in before you ever draw out your firearm to fire, and we teach that. I go over all the revised statutes. I just had a gentleman, he's a white guy, he came to my class and he was so excited. And I said, well, why are you so excited? I really didn't get it. He said, nobody has informed me about this stuff. He said, I walked out of my old one because he did a renewal 5 years ago. He said, they taught me none of this. I ensure that my students are the best informed. I give them the Louisiana, the city codes for carrying around a parade. I will not have a person walk out of my class and be ignorant of any fact.
And that's good because ignorance of the law, too, is no excuse.
No excuse whatsoever.
What has been the most difficult thing that you've focused and had with respect to your your training?
Honestly, discredit. You a brother and you do this? Yeah. I had a guy tell me, I don't know if I can trust you. Well, why? My ice is still the same. It still make your water cold. But
is it really? They don't believe it, do they?
But in all honesty, they look at my age. Okay, I'm 34. No, I have a background with firearms, and so I'm not necessarily a novice in it. And so that's some of the things you have to go. You have to get down that stigma. You're a black man, you're doing this. This isn't your area. And no, when you look on the internet and everything, when you look at, even on my website, I tried to find pictures. The one that they give you is a white hand on it. And so this is, statistically speaking, a white-dominated industry. But I'm here to change it.
Yeah, and that's needed because when it's all said and done, and I want you to talk to some extent about the nature of the gun laws that we have. The gun laws that we have in America, in terms of carry, they emanated from the restrictive laws that we have now. Emanated from California, when the Panthers and other groups in the '60s were carrying weapons to protect themselves. So they said, "Oh well, wait a minute, let's change these laws because these individuals now are arming themselves and learning the truth." Yes.
Right.
Yes. And what's your response to that?
Honestly, a lot of the gun laws across the nation are negatively impact legal gun ownership.
Yeah.
One thing I want them to understand when they talk about common sense gun laws and things like that. As a concealed carry handgun permit owner, I have to do an FBI background check. As a gun owner, I had to do an FBI background check. So people that own legal guns have done more. That the government knows more about us than the average person. And so you have to look at, when you're talking about gun law, look at Chicago. And I don't want to really get too far into that, but Chicago has the strictest gun laws. But all the attacks and things that have been going on are by illegal gun ownership, and legal gun owners can't do it. And so the laws aren't set up to protect the people. A lot of laws are set up to restrict the people. And so I want to take the laws that are there and eventually work on making new ones, but the laws that are pre-existing and say, hey, let's make them work for the people, and you understand that and work within the parameters of the law.
And again, I would like to remind my viewing audience that I'm Gary Clark, and I'm speaking with my good friend Isaiah Stewart, who is the founder of Angels NOLA here in the city of New Orleans, and you've been doing a great job, an excellent job. But will you please tell my viewing audience where you're from, where you grew up? I've known you for oh so many years. I know you're a native of California.
Yes, sir.
But tell us the Isaiah Stewart story.
Isaiah Stewart story. Came originally from California, the Bay Area. Came out here and attended the illustrious Dillard University. Started in 2002. And from there was able to start my life, grad school, seminary school, and flourished, got married, bought real estate, started working, matriculated to life here. But that's me, my dad, people from here, and so growing up I had to come out here. So you come out, you hang in the country, you hang in the projects, you know what I mean? It was home. So when it became time to go to college, it was go play soccer in California at Fresno State or come home. So I came home.
Okay.
And actually meeting with you and Sergeant Higgs, start getting into local politics and starting the Black Republicans Club. Just so many great things. And so Isaiah is just a young brother who has tasted life and saw the other side and sees where things can be enhanced in this world. And I'm here as a Joshua to my generation. I'm also a pastor, and so. A lot of times people, you teach people how to shoot and pray? Yeah, I teach you shoot on Saturday and pray on Sunday, and we roll. But I'm a person for the people, and I'm here, and I want to be able to bless and change the lives of those who I'm around, and then broaden that out to everybody in the city, to the parishes, the state, the nation, and the world.
Well, that's a great mix that you have, and I think that mix is outstanding. What was your major at the university?
Political science, sociology.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right. One of our people.
Yes, sir.
I just want to hear you say that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You were one of very influential to me. From first meeting you, like I say, the first day we met you, I knew not to miss your class. I can say one class I had perfect attendance in was Dr. Gary Clark's class.
Well, you know what? And in that same vein, tell us about some other influences along the way for you, your personal and professional influences.
Personal influences, my dad, Pastor Allen Douglas, my uncle Raymond Allen Smith, they helped me out in ministry, Clyde Harris, and then just getting to Dillard University and really seeing how active the student body was in local politics. I mean, I made my first $75 campaigning with, oh gosh, who was it? I don't even remember. It was freshman year, 16 years ago. But that started it all. That was my influence. Dillard University was my influence, my first introduction into politics in New Orleans.
Civic engagement, yeah.
Yeah, and it was something that was it was amazing to me. Again, coming from California, liberal, very broad. I mean, you had. The city I came from, Vallejo, was the most diverse city at one point, to a black school. And then all of a sudden I'm seeing all these black folks with the same mindset to push higher education and then be politically active. I mean, we had protests on campus. I never saw that in my life. I don't even know what I'm cheering for. I'm just cheering for something. But all that led me to here right now. And it led me to, at some point, pursue political office in some way.
Now, that spirituality, because I know you're a very spiritual person,
yes, sir.
And that spirituality how important is that to you and what you do in terms of training individuals, because that's a nice blend, a good mix.
It is a good blend. You have to stand for something, you fall for anything. And you have to stand on some kind of moral ground. And I liken it to the story in the Bible where Jesus talks about a man there's a wise and foolish man, one who built on sand and one who built on rock. And when life happened, the house that was on sand blew away, but when life happened to the one who dug on the rock, they were able to stand. And standing firm on something is what I teach my students. They don't really get it all the time. Some of them do when they go to church. But they don't get to getting biblical principles in certain things that we do. And so I make it totally inclusive. I'm all about the wholeness, not, with my spirituality, my spiritual journey, not about just money and finance. Let's deal with the whole person. And so we deal with that.
And that works because when you're through that, the individuals understand why it is important to protect yourself, and you're protecting your family, and also to understand that this is a dangerous world out there.
And Peter was strapped up.
Yes.
People forget that in the Garden of Gethsemane when Jesus was praying, he cut the ear off. And so the preacher walked with the Savior and was ready. And so I take that same concept that, times have changed. I don't no longer have to have a knife, but I do have a firearm, and we will protect the people, and you have the right to protect yourself and those around you, and you'll do it and feel okay about it.
You know what? You're out there in the community, and you're very, very, very close to the pulse of what's taking place.
Yes, sir.
In terms of what you do and your occupation and how your life operates. What do you see as perhaps some of the problems that we have in our community today that permeate our community?
Problems that we have in our community, get a little flack back, that the church really aren't speaking to the real issues that people are going through. We have education. We have literacy rates. We have members who, 56 years old, can barely read 3 words. And so how can I expect for them to have the best advantage when they can't even read? So I got computers donated at our church. And so we have...
And what church is that?
This is House of Healing Outreach, 2912 Conti Street, Pastor George Green Jr. And we have the Mavis Beacon thing so they can learn to come type. We want to enhance the people. They have a desire, but... let's just say, hey, I'm 3rd generation, didn't graduate. And so now I want to break that cycle with my children, but I want to do better, but don't know how. And so access to the things that they need. Really actually hearing the people. Because jobs are great. Okay, we talk job. But what type of job? Service industry? Okay, cool. But do I just want, we have a member at our church. Service is what she likes to do. But we talk, you're not just going to be a basic service. You're going to be the manager of that whole department. Well, now she ended up meeting the CEO and is getting a promotion and got a free trip. We have to hear what is ailing them. And I think a lot of people are being preached to, they're being preached at, they're being talked to, but nobody's listening.
Yeah.
The pulpit is not pulling people out of the pit.
Okay. That's not pulling you out.
They're not pulling them out the pit. They are still there, and sadly, ambition allows many ministers just to flourish, and their people are still impoverished.
I see that. I see what you're saying. Now, within that, there are certain things that led you personally to civic engagement.
Yes, sir.
What led you personally to be involved civically?
The message of Christ.
Yeah.
That's what he did. You think about sociology, you think about different industries. He was a person of the people. Now, I'm not a socialist, but he took care of the needs of the folks. When a woman was about to get stoned to death, he took care of her need. He didn't throw the law on her. He didn't castigate her. He didn't criticize her. He said he was without sin, cast the first stone. And from the oldest to the youngest, they walked away. He took care of her needs. And so seeing that and understanding that the needs of the people should be our top priority, because if I can change a household, that one child in that household can change a city, can change a nation, can change a state, can change the world.
Yeah. Do you see that change taking place?
Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. In some areas, I see regression. I see frustration. I see people not fully understanding the word and it being relative in their life, and they walk away, only to come back, but then hurt.
Yeah. Now, I see this and your significance that your particular generation now is making a mark. The millennials are making a mark.
Yes, sir.
And they're making a powerful mark in the country and in different arenas and different areas. What do you see as being the millennial impact in American politics today?
The millennial impact in politics is, to me, we're not doing it the same.
All right.
Right? They want to do things differently. Now, sadly, I do see personally, it's just me, that they haven't really grasped fully in the future what do we want. They see right now, and I think that's honestly a problem with the millennials, microwave style generation. I want something right now, but we have to think, okay, right now affects right now, but it also affects 20 years down the line. So my hope as the millennials get into politics and more of them get into politics, not just focus solely on the now, but let's think future.
Now, as a subset to that, Black millennials.
Ooh, Black millennials.
You know I was coming there.
Yeah,
yes.
Black millennials are different.
Yes,
you
sir.
know, we're galvanizing in a way that's just beautiful. I wish it was more strategic and semi Black Panther, where we all knew together that this was our goal. We're gonna do this thing right now together. We have so many different ideologies that they don't know what to latch onto. So what everybody else latches onto is Black Lives Matter. Right? They just go to that one campaign, but we have several things, but we need to come together as millennials, and I think we don't have that.
Okay, and remember too, the Black Panthers, they were just one of a whole mix of groups during that period where, you know, they were doing their thing, SNCC was doing their thing, CORE, all of these
But then
people.
watch what all of them,
Yeah.
whether you had the Black Panthers in Philly, Oakland, or Oregon, they all had one agenda. Feed the community, educate the Black folks, and let's come together with one. So when they bombed them in Philly, when they shut them down in Oakland, when they tried to do something with them in D.C., where they had some out here, across the nation, they were doing pretty much the same thing.
Like, see, I like that because you're building that West Coast experience here, and you're making us understand the nature of that West Coast experience. And I like what you're doing, and I really appreciate it because the message you're bringing is very significant. We have about a minute and a half remaining.
All right.
But within that, do this for me.
Yes, sir.
Tell us about the nature of where you want to carry your company over the next few years. Where do you want Angel Arms to
Angel
be?
Arms NOLA, man, I want to be able to travel across the state, across the nation, especially across the state, and educate, inform, and empower our African-American community with being able to be concealed carry, and then also to take the guns that they have and be able to own them properly. If anybody's interested in getting a concealed carry permit or setting up something, do a consultation inside the house, I ask that they visit our website, www.angelarmsnola.com, or email me at instructor@angelarmsnola.com, or text me, call me, 504-612-4663, because we want to expand. New Orleans is great. New Orleans is the only city. I got some stuff set up in Baton Rouge now. I'm just trying to move city by city to get us all on the same page.
But this is a great state to educate the people about their right to bear arms,
Yes, sir.
their right to protect themselves, and also about their responsibility
Yes, sir.
as an individual in American society. Because I made sure that my family is prepared. My daughter's armed, my wife is. They
Yes,
all
sir.
know what to do. They all know how to protect themselves, whether
It's
it's
a
9
must.
mm or what. Yes.
It's a must. You have to be able to protect. I mean, self-preservation is one of our top priorities. I mean, if you think about anything in life, you're going to look out for yourself. So.
And I want to thank you again for joining
Thank
me.
you, Doc, man. I
Yes,
appreciate
indeed.
you.
Outstanding.
Thank
and
you,
again,
sir.
I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And as always, it's been a pleasure.